How do we become less reactive? How do we take our personal emotions out of the process when we're trying to sell somebody a car? Welcome to Car Talk, where I give you my 20 years of experience on my 20-minute drive door. Or get something handled at the dealership. This is something I think we all deal with because we're in a fast-paced environment. Everybody wants it right now. Everybody's easily pointing at who created the problem or why they're expecting me to do it this way. They don't understand. And the customer is getting frustrated with us. And so it's like, we get emotional about this, and we get frustrated. All right, before we get to the video, I need a little bit of your help. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done that. And most importantly, please send this video to 1 or 2 people that you know could really use some motivation. And maybe this video will just help them out. All right, let's get right to it. One of my best traits is I'm able, for the most part, to leave my emotions out of it, because I know that the customer, the employee, isn't really upset or frustrated at me personally. They're frustrated with the situation, or they're frustrated with the process. And I know this. I know this because I spend a lot of time thinking about this, reading, listening to, customers and just people in general. And I think that if everybody else could just take their emotions out of it a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. And understand that when a customer comes in to buy a vehicle from you, they're not upset with you. If they get upset or they get frustrated, they're not upset with you. They're upset with the process, or they're upset how things are going. But we have the ability to change that. And we have the ability to change it in the moment and over time. But if we're going to get emotional, all of a sudden that customer, that situation, that conversation is probably going to go the wrong direction. I'm going to give you an example. A customer comes in, you're negotiating the car deal. A lot of customers don't like this process. So you're negotiating the process and the trade-in comes out. And all of a sudden the customer gets really upset and maybe starts getting a little bit angry at you about the trade-in number. So you're sitting there and you're trying to talk to him about it a little bit. You're trying to explain the process, and the customer cuts you off, and the customer maybe gets a little bit rude. In that moment, you have a choice to make. You either can get emotional about that and get to the point where you think the customer is being rude to you, and then you could just be done with the conversation. You can stop trying. You could have the customer leave. You can get all mad, whatever you want to do. Blame it on the customer for being rude. Let your manager know, I'm not dealing with customers that are rude. I'm not going to be talked to about that way. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I know that the customer isn't upset at me. I know that. I know that they're upset with the process. I know that chances they've already been to another dealership, spent a couple hours there, felt like they wasted a lot of their time. They've been online, they've looked at a lot of different trade values. They're just getting a lot of different, conflicting information. So they're frustrated. They're just frustrated. They wanted to come in, they wanted X amount for their trade. They just expect you to give X amount so we can just move on and be done with the deal. But that's not how it works. But I'm not here to make the customer wrong. I'm not here to get the customer to fully understand my process. Yes, I'm going to tell them how we arrived to the number, what we go through to get that, but it's not my job to make them understand my job. That's not my job. My job is to seek an agreement on the trade-in and get the customer ideally to say yes, they want to buy the vehicle. That's all I care about. That's what matters. At that moment, I'm not worried about how they're talking to me. Now, yeah, of course, I'm not going to let somebody belittle me or be like ultra rude, but most of the time, the customers aren't this way. They get defensive, they talk over you a little bit, and you instantly snap, and you get into that same mood because you're like, oh, ain't nobody talking to me that way. But it's not, you can overcome this very easy. And I don't know, maybe it's killing them with kindness, that kind of stuff. And just like, hey, I get it. I understand that you're frustrated. And to be honest, I would be frustrated just like you if I was in your position. You go online, there's a lot of conflicting information. You might have already been to a dealer. They wasted 2 hours of your time. So yeah, now here we go again. You're about to relive that exact same situation. Who wants to go through that? Who wants to be a part of that? I know I don't. So I apologize that you have to go through this. But Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, my job here is to do one thing. Help you find the vehicle that you guys would consider buying. Sounds like we did that. And now it's to the point where nobody likes this point. Nobody likes the point where we're at, which is the negotiation. But let's just do us all a favor, and let's just try to come to an agreement here. I get where you're at on your trade, and I fully understand. I want to try to help you out. Okay? But we do have metrics that we use. And even if those metrics don't align or make sense with you, I get it. So I'm here to try to help you out, and let's seek agreement here. Okay? So let's get to the trade. What do you feel like is a real fair value for your vehicle? Why can't you do that? Why can't you not get emotional and have a conversation like that with a customer? You will sell more cars. You'll be happier because you're not letting people trigger you. And if you do get triggered over and over and over about these things, it's possible that this business isn't right for you, even if you're fairly good at it. Because who wants to get upset all day? Who wants to go upset, go home mad and wonder why these customers are rude and all this? Like, who wants to do that? So my suggestion is when you pull into the dealership, right? I've mentioned before, leave your baggage at the curb. But you know what? Leave your emotions outside. We all show up to the dealership. We're all doing the best we can. Everybody has layers of stuff that happens that affects their job, affects how they're doing. But if we can kind of set the emotion aside for a second and just like, let's work through it together. Let's get through whatever issue it is, whether or not it's another employee, maybe it's the parts department, maybe it's the service department and the sales department. They're clashed in their heads because they don't understand what the other's going through. So they get emotional because now they're going to, now you're going to put me in a spot where I got to call my customer and they're going to be all mad at me and I didn't do anything wrong. You did everything wrong. If we could just leave the emotion out of it and have better conversations, be less reactive, we're all going to be better off. So I know this isn't the easiest thing to do. And it takes practice and maybe you don't have it in you. I don't know. But if you can have it in you, you can work towards that. Not only are you going to have a better experience at your dealership, you're going to have more fun, you're going to sell more vehicles, you're going to have better relationships with everybody inside your dealership. But it starts with you. You have to make adjustments. Don't expect everybody else to make adjustments. I kind of mentioned this to my team the other day. I'm like, some of you I've spent 5 years with, trying to help, fix, change you, and get you to see things this way. And some of you haven't fully changed yet. So how would we expect somebody else to go change? It's going to take time. And I understand that. That's why I don't get so upset. But guys, do me a favor. If you could do one thing from all the things that I'm training you on, this is probably a way more in-depth conversation, but I was just thinking about this, is leave your emotions out of it. Leave your emotions out of it. And maybe you got to trick yourself. One thing I do is like, hey, if a customer's going to come in, they're going to be rude, they're not going to be nice to me, at least I'm going to get paid for it. Yeah, you can kick them out of the dealership. You can tell them to leave. You can go tell your manager all about how these people are rude. You don't care if you sold them a car or not. Or you can get paid because didn't they already upset you? Didn't they already be
This
rude?
one's for the ones who keep going, even when life's got them on the ropes. Hustle over talent.
Nothing changes. I don't know. But that's just my take on it. You guys do what you want to do. And hey, till the next time, talk to you guys later.